Hello, everybody. Hope that you enjoyed your personal revolution, and maybe some of you felt the shift in the collective. During the last surf week, we had a revolution called for, and we started with self. If you revolutionized yourself, you revolutionize the collective. But this week, holy mackerel, things have shifted. And so just getting on our surfboard and surfing these energies, these cosmic waves, we've got a full moon in Cancer coming up, the rise of the nurturing mother. The divine mother is warranted this week. And wait until you see the solution this time. Everything, and I mean everything, is all synchronized. And the only thing that I just noticed now that I didn't fix is the congruency. I think congruency is at an all-time high. Everything is really overlaid together. So basically, we have with this full moon plus some other alignments. We'll go through day by day with the astrology, but this week's main energy is a full spectrum yin state. And like we always do in all these surf reports, make sure that you stay for the solution slide, because we need to know how to behave. It's one thing to know what it feels like. The yin state is that divine mother, the divine feminine on the rise, dominant. And so we're going to talk about what that means to feel that way. But also important is to know how to behave in that energy. All right. So that's going to be towards the end. In the astrology, we have a couple of T-squares that adds to this feeling, divine feminine sort of feeling. We have a full moon in Cancer. We have the Saturn square Uranus, and we have the Mars square Neptune, and a whole lot more. In the I-Ching, we have gathering together, and that is perfect for the full moon in Cancer, because Cancer does represent not just mother, but home and the homestead, and sometimes having people over, gathering. And this is more than just physically gathering together, of course. This is more of having the same inspiration, same vision, that sort of stuff. So that's all warranted. Plus Venus, I didn't mention in the astrology, is free from the combust. Now, she is in retrograde and she has some other alignments, but she's free. And that has this, finally, we can get together. We can harmonize together. So that adds to the I-Ching. The Dreambot. Now, I had some problems with the Dreambot recently. Was able to do my backup plan, and something's happening, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Plus, there's this massive amount of control. It's finally coming through in the collective unconscious, and I think this is really, really important, because when you bring awareness, so if you've got words coming into the dreams, that indicates that you're transitioning from a largely subconscious space into bubbling up into the conscious awareness. And so I think the fact that we have a sub meme of control in there is a huge positive thing. All right. With that, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about a couple comments, make a special attribution to this surf report, and then we'll talk about the Dreambot and then the daily astrology, and then we'll get into the solutions. So hang on. If you haven't subscribed yet, we are on several different platforms: YouTube, Rumble, and Telegram. Mainly, we're all over the Facebook and Instagram, but I don't really post a whole lot over there anymore. Not that I don't want to, it's mainly just a time thing. But so many cool comments from, I'm so grateful for literally all of the comments. But I can only highlight a couple. So first of all, if you put your birthday here, and you don't see it up here, I have D, was last month on the 23rd. We missed her happy birthday, or his happy birthday. Sorry, I can't remember genders. Not Northern Lady is up to come, and February 19th. It's well out of this CIRF report, so I don't have it in the timeline. But if your name's not here because you put a birthday in, I actually put it into the day-to-day astrology, so I can say happy birthday there. So thank you for putting your birthday in. By the way, if your birthday's coming up, go ahead and put it in the comments section, and I will put it on the timeline. How about that? All right. So default, I loved this one. And for some reason I don't know the gender. Default said, did not have any up arrows on this one. Other than mine, says, I just love this one. Heads over to Rumble so you can get my 1 cent for watching. Thank you. I love that comment, and actually just feels really positive to be getting over into Rumble, and not like super popular over there, but shifting the emphasis from YouTube over into Rumble. And it's just sort of starting, as evidenced by Tarif says, hi surfers, revisiting the energies in retrospect as usual. Entirely correct. Thank you very much. My nursing class song was No Man is an Island. I-Chingers right there. And we go into more of this, Tarif, in this CIRF report, so hang on. And then Brian Adams was a contender for the award this week, but the tiebreaker with Not For Me to Say, they both had 6 YouTube up arrows, but Not For Me to Say has 4 extra rumbles over on Rumble with the same comment. And some people say that's cheating, but I think it's smart, and I think it's helping the algorithm. So I'm throwing Not For Me to Say a bone here, and with 10 up arrows total, congratulations. But real quick, Brian Adams has actually quite a few thoughts in the YouTube comment section. So I want to shout out to him for the philosophies that he throws down. And the way to change the outside world is to change the inside world. That's exactly what we're talking about. It is the only way. There is nothing to do. Doing is external. The reunification of knowing and being is the goal. Being aware of the life force within you is the space that occupies. Everything external, including your image, is a trap. Love and let go. Input should never be based on outcome, etc. So thanks for your philosophies, Brian. Keep those comments coming, and people keep on reading. Obviously, you like that one with the second most up arrows. Not For Me to Say says, this is the winner of this week's comment. Man, life has been crazy. I'm helping the algorithm because the wisdom you provide here would help so many if they would participate. I'm disconnecting from the crazy, spending time in nature and detoxifying with sun, fire, and candlelight in the cooler weather as much as possible. Also practicing energy work, mindfulness, kindness, gratitude, joy, hope, and openness. Thanks for all you do. Big shout out there. That those behaviors are actually a revolution in themselves from last week, and they're going to be warranted also this week, as you will see. I encourage all of you to take your comment on YouTube. Not that I'm not grateful. Don't mix words. If you want to, just copy those over and paste them over on Rumble, and just, add to the algorithm there. All right, here's my big announcement. Happy 50th to Angela. This is my soulmate. You get to see a picture of her here. Absolutely most beautiful soul you could ever meet. And I'm not saying that externally whatsoever. This is just the who she is part. And 50th this is very symbolic with the full moon in Cancer. She has some Cancer moon in her chart. And so this is the rise. This is the metaphor of the rise of the nurturing mother. But also 50th is just such a big gate to go through, and you get to go through it first. one last thing, without Angie, not that she created the CIRF reports, I was the one that created it, but without her presence, without her influence, there never would have been the idea for CIRF reports. So huge shout out should be from all of us to Angie. Happy 50th. And so this CIRF report is sponsored by her turning the big 50. All right, let's get into the Dreambot. Now, I was having a real hard time last night getting this thing together, but I got it back up and was able to put something together. Oh, the word temperature is up at the top. That's so strange. Look how clean this Dreambot looks now. We don't have just a couple of words up there. I think I was having problems on my main computer, and it just finally went kaput. Not the computer, but the Dreambot on it. So I'm going to erase and put a fresh copy on the Dreambot and start over. Hopefully that'll fix things. But nonetheless, look at this, 65 surge score with temperature. Now, the temperature's been oscillating here up and down, and so maybe that's just what it is. But I wanted to bring in the law of one material here, because they talk about how when humanity is at each other's throats and discontent is on the rise, it actually warms up the Earth's temperature according to the law of one, and vice versa. And so I immediately thought of that, and we're in a increasing trend in temperature here in this central area. But is it correlated with that law of one and the discontent? Maybe, maybe not. The other thing that was big is care, and that's direct manifestation of the full moon in Cancer. Care and view, both of those together. View is sort of like a mindfulness thing. Cancer is maybe not through the five senses, but in the high yin state, which is the epitome of moon in Cancer. You have this mindful awareness. It's just pure awareness, which is view. So you have a good view. All right. That's the background to the Dreambot run. But let's look in the details of these red arrows. Now, I was really having a hard time developing the memes, but listen to these. View, dreamed, lots, trip, happening, mention, happen, somewhere, things are happening somewhere. That's ultimately what all those red arrows are. We don't really know what it is, but things are happening. All right. And that's big. It's a direct overlap, and there's lots of those red arrows. That's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but things are happening, and we need to open up our awareness in this yin state and observe. All right. Also, the blue arrows are undoubtedly control. Army, boss, engine, pulled, control, the word control, decide. And so we have those two big memes in here. And then we have the linguistics set, number one. Now, let me read this to you with sort of a neutral voice and see what it means to you. Army, boss, lots, minute, elevator, hero, trip, happening. Sort of a hero-ish. Is the army the hero? Are they even related together? Could it be that things are happening with army as hero? Elevation, elevator, elevating us? Possibly. I don't know. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking. But the neat thing is, as I mentioned before, the something is clearly happening is in the collective unconscious, but control is there too. Now, that doesn't mean that, we can expect more control necessarily, but the continuum of feeling controlled, dreams come through our feeling senses. So if we're all feeling controlled, we're going to dream more about it, and that's what's happening. And so the fact that it's there is bringing awareness to it, which is a really positive thing. And we get to decide, is that really what we want as a collective? All right, astrology. Here we go. right off the bat, Mercury is going to go into retrograde. We have right at the end, the sun's going to go into Aquarius. This one's interesting. I'm not going to make a whole lot. I'm sorry. Disregard that. I was thinking it was something else. This is the sun conjunct Pluto, and it goes exact right in the middle of our week, our CIRF week, and it is going to jostle our egos. It is, if you're in an airplane, your gyros are just spinning and you don't know which way is up and down. You're in the middle of the clouds. And so this is your ego can't fly. It can't stabilize. It doesn't know which way is up. And that's what this feeling is, especially when we go max. And that's right at the full moon. I mean, not exact at the full moon, but we're there. The sun and Pluto are, I think, within 1 degree when the full moon comes up. So you've got massive amounts of ego confusion while you've got this crazy Cancer moon coming up. All right. So this is going to be a hard time to do stuff. All right. Little hint there. On Thursday, we start our week. First day of the CIRF report out the gate. Happy birthday to Angie on the 13th. All right. Here's what we have in terms of the layout of the stars. Where do we begin? Well, probably the biggest one is now we got 3 degrees from the sun to Pluto. So they're starting to get together. They are technically conjunct at 8 degrees, but this is the rebirth. This is the ego's rebirth in Capricorn. So, like your vision of the future, your goals you want to achieve, where you want to head in life, looking at all the obstacles, that kind of thing for the ego. And Pluto brings about transformation. It's the death rebirth of ego. You can look at it the other way too, where Pluto being the power, the subconscious, the deep inner power, but is weakened because Pluto is combust, basically. So we're going to lose ego. Some of us are going to feel almost complete disintegration of ego. And I'm wondering if people start to escape on this energy alone, not even to mention all the other junk that we're going to talk about, but just that one alone. Try not to escape. This is the dark night of the soul in terms of astrology layouts. Dark night of the soul. All right. In Capricorn. So everything I just mentioned. So we got that, and that's going to get stronger as the days go on. Then we have the Uranus square Saturn, and that's 3.5 degrees. Remember, Uranus is going to come out of retrograde at the end of this week, and that's just going to delay the disintegration of this square. So it's going to just make it drone out longer. And this represents discontent, and the two sides are freedom and change versus keep everything the same and comply and status quo and just do as you're told. Now we've got Mercury coming in just before he goes retrograde. He's going to come within about 3 degrees of Saturn. And in this, it's going to be lots of serious thoughts. So Mercury's thoughts, Saturn is, state of seriousness and shoulds and hurdles. So your thinking is along those lines, but in Aquarius. So you're forced to think about humanitarian needs. It's for the greater good. You're going to have these feelings and expectations in thoughts. All right. And that's one thing to know that it's there. And it's going to be extremely emotional and future bound. And so all this that I just mentioned in the context of future, because there's the North Node here with your emotions are focused on the North Node, and you're going to start thinking, I'm going to have to comply. That's your sort of your thoughts there. I am going to have to think humanitarian. So it's sort of a future twist to those thoughts based on the emotional content over the North Node. All right, moving into Friday the 14th. No birthday that I know of here. T-square on dreams. T-square on Neptune. This is the pressure to dream. Or maybe the pressure to escape. We just mentioned the dark night of the soul, phew, and we're trapped in these need to escape or not. Maybe you feel trapped. This could be a trapped feeling in the dark night of the soul. It could be terrifying for a lot of people. Watch out for other people as they feel terrified and trapped in their fantasy or their dreams or their need to escape. All right. Watch out for that. Because what do? Unexpected things. If you're in that scenario and you don't know what to expect there, that could be scary. And people tend to do weirder, more unexpected things when they're under that pressure. This is where Mercury will go retrograde. So start that, and it'll actually proceed all the way into Capricorn before he turns back direct again. And then we'll do the Aquarius thing all over when that comes to it. So the closest they get is about 3 degrees from Mercury to Saturn. And then from here on out, Mercury is, revisiting old thoughts, old beliefs, maybe. I mentioned, sort of ironic, the day before where our thoughts were more of the future. Well, that trine is gone because the moon is now gone. So now with Mercury retrograde, it's the reverse of that. So we're thinking about how we had to comply in humanitarian for the greater good. It was more of a past tense thoughts. All right. And so that brings about other emotions such as resentments. Don't be surprised if you're resentment. So now you're going through an ego transformation, feeling resentful from the past forced humanitarianism and wanting to escape. So be watching out for that. Plus or minus, 12, 24 hours from this. Saturday. All right. Happy birthday to Miss D. She's on January 15th. And here's your birthday forecast. Well, we're only 1 degree away now from the sun and Pluto. Pluto combust. And they are not in the same piece of sky elevation-wise. So it's just going to be Pluto getting weak. And that's the subconscious. We'll talk about tomorrow. We'll talk about what that really means as it gets exact. It's like a weakening of the subconscious. We'll couch that discussion here for a second. Practical changes, though, with Venus, who is now free but in retrograde in Capricorn, is trine over to Uranus. So practical changes and insights, practical changes, practical, earthy, using your 5 senses. You're sensing things. You're much more aware of these changes and insights in the relationship. And with Venus retrograde, we might be possibly revisiting old changes or old insights, or their ironicism of how this energy of change is easy flowing with the energy of harmonizing. But if you do the Uranus as a eccentric, freedom lover, that's easily maybe disrupting the harmonizing of the relationship. Okay. So recognize that that's a possibility. Green does not always indicate good. It's an energy. It just depends on how it's used. All right. Now we've got Sunday the 16th. Now this one's in the morning, and this is where I put in Sun is exact with Pluto. So this is the climax of the combust, Pluto combust. So it's maximum subconscious weakness. What the heck does that mean? You don't even know that you're weak, right? But you can feel maybe drained, defeated. You can feel like your gyros are spinning, like disoriented. And there might be an existential crisis. And because this is the Capricorn thing, Capricorn gives you a vector. It's a cardinal. I know what direction I'm going. But now things are questionable. I thought I knew, but now I don't. Maybe you're in a existential transformation, but that one feels like the life is ending. That one feels like ego is ending, ego death. This is not a good time to assert yourself if you're feeling this existential crisis and all these other weaknesses that I was talking about. And then throughout the rest of the day, even though this is at 8:50 Central in the morning on the 16th, this energy, continues. But as you wake up on Sunday morning, this is the maximum of that energy. And then we get into Martin Luther King birthday. Happy birthday, Dr. King. And this is also the day for full mother moon, full moon. That's not the technical name for it, but moon in Cancer, that is the mom. That's the epitome of mom. All right. And nurturing and caring, compassion, all these Cancer attributes with your emotional complex is the perfect mother. It's the divine mother, the rise of the full divine mother. Now, as an aside, Martin Luther King Jr., I'm aware of possible conspiracies around this person, but I ask you to don't focus on that, where or not. Don't worry too much if that's true, not true. How about let's focus on the message? There's a beautiful message, regardless, even if the worst conspiracies are true, which we don't even know if they're true or not, or at least I don't. But what about the message? The message is absolutely beautiful, in my opinion. So let's focus on that, regardless of where you stand on his person or whether or not he was abusive and all that stuff. Don't take away from the message. All right. That's my opinion. And I'd be happy to contest this with anyone. I don't want to contest. These are just my opinions. And if that offends, I care about your opinions too. So let them fly. Comment below if I'm wrong. But to me, the message is essential for all of us. All right, Sun and Pluto are still 1 degree away, and they're opposite. They're shining this ego doubt onto a full moon who is just at the end of Cancer, and that is going to be a factor on the sidereal conversion. But for now, we're talking about influence. So tropical astrology, full moon in Cancer. It's crazy time, right? Full moon, crazy energy. Extra turmoil, though, because on this mother, we're shining a weakened subconscious. We're shining an existential crisis onto the moon that leaves us still with that urge to nurture, urge to care about others, urged for, house matters and your home in general, and that feeling. And that is the epitome of yin. It's the divine yin. And as the male, or the male at the divine male aspect, as the sun, as the ego is weakened tremendously by Pluto and shining that casting onto the moon, that accentuates the divine mother. It's heavily, heavily weighted towards yin. And so in the solutions, we're going to talk about what all that means as far as your behaviors go and what you should be doing. But one of them is I wouldn't be pushing too hard. I wouldn't be doing a bunch of yang activity, heavy exertion, heavy planning, all that stuff. Not for this week. This is yin. This is the week of yin. And I know we just had quite the opposite week just before. And the energy shifts, though, as you know. And it shifts twofold because it's not just a full moon in Cancer. It's the sun and Pluto as well as some others like the Venus and Uranus. Same, it aids in this. Accentuates it. All right, Tuesday the 18th. No birthdays that I know of here, but T-square on Uranus. So there's this pressure to change, pressure to break free, pressure for insights, maybe inventions. You're just stuck in that loop and just the pressure to put those inventions out. It's the mad scientist. Also, technology is here. Uranus is technology. So that's not boding well. I'm already noticing all sorts of technology problems, including the Dreambot last night. So I'm not looking forward to Tuesday the 18th because our technology will be disrupted during this week, during this day. Okay. Also accentuates the square to Saturn. So the Uranus puts emphasis, emotional emphasis on the need to be free and eccentric and different, and it's okay and unique and breaking free. As an aside, I forgot, instead of 12, 12, 12 that I normally do, I did 13, 13, 13 in honor of Angie's birthday, 50th. Wednesday. This is the last day of our CIRF report, and the energies overall start to lighten up. So you have just an overall, every one of these alignments is starting to wind down, except for Venus and Uranus, because Venus is in a retrograde. But the sun, this is going to be the last day of sun in Capricorn, and towards the end of the day, going into Aquarius. Now, what did we just talk about? Ego going through a full up transformation. Well, now there's 3 degrees away, and now, so it's still conjunct with Pluto, still having that sort of funk or unease, goes into a detriment, into Aquarius. And so now the ego's having even more problems, even more ego weakness. So still probably not the time to really carry out a lot of ego strong activities. All right, let's take the highlighter off and get into the I-Ching. Here's the influence, gathering together. Power of gathering together is represented by a rally, where each individual strength is magnified by the collective power of a community. For instance, history has shown that mass movements can bring about stable, ordered, and durable conditions for the better. This reading may be pointing to an auspicious time for large group events or undertakings. This guiding force of a shared vision is essential to align unified forces and keep your people advancing towards a common goal. Yes. So basically, the influence is togetherness, but in a yin state. Interesting. Starting to think about the solution, but not yet. Let's finish off this influence. Everything is magnified when masses of people join together for a single purpose. When many people unite behind a single goal or strong vision, it is wise to take personal precautions, protecting your reasonable self-interest, because there can easily be lost in the melee of the crowd. Protecting is part of the overall divine mother, the moon, the full moon in Cancer. Cancer is the crab, and why the crab feels very vulnerable inside with all that soft meat, and so has to have these big hard shells around and pinchers to protect them. There's protection is a big theme in the Cancer energy. All right, real quick, line 4. When you take on a temporary or subordinate leadership role in service to an even more qualified leader, supreme good fortune results. To play such a role with dignity is a sign of maturity and balance, and bodes well for you in the future, providing you play your part with discretion and respect. And what this is saying is that if there's somebody more qualified for the leadership in this group, in this rally, then make sure you play your appropriate part. That's hard when your ego gyros are all swirling around. So not too focused on the solution, but these lines help us figure out the nuts and bolts of what the solution will be. So one of the nuts and bolts is play your part appropriately, and you might be the leader, so play it. Line 5, when people rally around a person because of their confidence in him or her, it is an excellent alignment. However, if they rally because of the leader's raw power and influence, it can become a reason for regret. So be careful who you follow. And we've been hearing that strategy for a long time. Be aware of the possibility that they are not so much attracted by your competence as they are by what they perceive to be your potential for power. All right, let's transition into the solution. It just so happens that when we put those lines in, you get every yin line here. This is the divine feminine. You can't make this up. I was blown away with these synchronicities. Unbelievable. I don't have to read hexagram 2. This is the divine mother. Just a few snippets though. This is to help you. Remember, this is the solution. The solution is yin. So we're going to behave in a very yin state. The receptive force is sensual and subtle and can be overlooked by too much thinking, talking, and planning. So those are things that we're going to put on the back burner this week. Thinking, Mercury retrograde, talking, Mercury retrograde, and planning, Mercury retrograde. So don't do those. And that's also commensurate with good yin behaviors, just living in the present moment. The mature feminine allows herself to be guided by higher power and is skilled at graceful acceptance. Acceptance is the yin behavior. All right. I'm going to be just bringing out these little words, these big archetypes inside of Divine Mother. Spiritually, her quiet contribution is highly effective, bringing a deeply felt kind of success. Don't be too assertive at this time. We already talked about that. Sun and Pluto together. Opening yourself to receive what you attract should be your primary concern. Opening yourself to receive what you attract should be not attracting. Attracting is more of a yang activity. So this is the act of opening yourself to receive what you've attracted. And that's a big difference on those two. Be patient, take your time, focus more on feeling than on action. Be broad and deep in your attitude so that you accept everything that comes with grace and equanimity. Be receptive and spacious like the ocean. Let the river of change flow to you. So I was going to discuss the manifesting in the yin mode. Can that be done? I am going to discuss that on the solution slide, how we combine what's and going to end up being the rave, which is not a pure yang activity. Everything else is yin, and the rave is more of a combo between a little bit of yang, but a strong amount of yin, and we'll put it all together for you. So basically, I already talked about it where you got this, the full moon. It goes into hexagram 56, and now you can see there's this little space in the sidereal and the tropical that is just a little bit of overlap with each other. Let me put this up here so you can see it. Oh. All right there. See how the fingers are just a little bit of overlap? And that's where the full moon is. And so even in the sidereal, as you go out in the night sky, the full moon will be right on the edge of Cancer. But inside sidereal Cancer, it's beautiful. Everything's matching up to yin, the divine mother, this week. Everything. It's a gate of stimulation. It's the wanderer, 56 in the rave. Stability through movement, the perpetuation of continuity through the linking of short-term activity. This movement is more of a yang activity, but you can do movement in a yin state. And so we've talked about this before, but I will reiterate here. We're wandering to the genius, which I'll talk about. That one is interesting correlation. But we're wandering to Uranus, basically bringing out the genius and insight thereof that we're going to find isolated somewhere that hasn't been manifested. But you're going to do that with curiosity, and you're going to do it with acceptance in a yin state. All right, so putting it, well, let me read this first, and then I'll put it together for you. Isolated genius that will eventually find continuity through recognition and support. A genius for stimulating expression that will take time to mature and will need others to recognize it. So the genius has been hidden. It's been isolated. Sort of sounds to me like Uranus. This is the detriment side, a superficiality which collapses under recognition and is eventually forced to move on. A gift for communicating, but not enough depth. So we're looking under all these rocks and stones for the genius that changes everything. And if you do this properly, you wander around, but not in a yang wandering. It's not an earnest. It's not a go manifest sort of wandering. It's a curious wandering. It's an explorative, now moment, mindful wandering, and allowing your soul to guide you to the genius. All right. That's the overview. Let's get into the actual solution here. And let's get to the final slide. All right. Here it is. And how powerful. Put the full moon over the water. This is the representative of Cancer with all the emotions and a cardinal sign. So you actually have strong direction finding in this. And that's a metaphor too, sort of a life direction finding. Full moon implies yin. It implies divine mother and divine feminine. And the hexagram 45 gathering together. Venus is now clear of Pluto and Sun, returning her harmonizing powers. Cancer full moon puts emphasis on nurturing, empathy, and over-caring. It's an extreme because of the other influences. The combination is I-Ching 45, feeling more powerful together. All right. So as you feel that, and some of you will feel aloneness, but that aloneness will get exaggerated because of this energy, feeling more powerful together. And you look around, well, I'm not together, I'm alone. But the energy's still there. So it'll make your isolation and aloneness even more powerful. All right. Here is our solution slide, and I had to combine those overlaps together a little bit. The only outlier a little bit is the rave where it says the wanderer, but you can definitely do the wandering in a yin state, and that's what we're going to be doing. Isolated genius stimulates expression, will take time to mature, and needs others to recognize. So you've noticed this out in the real world. Insights are coming like this. These isolated geniuses are coming. The documents are coming out. The age of Aquarian, where knowledge gets revealed. The truth is revealed. Boom. But it takes time to trickle through the collective unconscious. And it takes time to mature. And it needs others to recognize it. Talked about Cancer and what that means, but that's the sidereal. Just beautiful. Beautiful how this universal layout is for this week. Generally as always, but this is profoundly tight. All right, here we go. With the dominant energy coming from the full moon in Cancer, it is so dominant that the solution completely aligns with it also. In other words, it forces us to realize that our best outcomes are going to be coming from the actions commensurate with the influence, the direct correlation between behaviors and influence. So as you feel it, do it. Feel it, the divine feminine coming in, the divine mother, the nurturer, the togetherness, the acceptor. Do it as well. All right. The I-Ching solution is the archetype for yin, and so is the moon in Cancer. They were talking about the I-Ching too. It's all directly correlated. There is a rare tiny overlap with tropical and sidereal, and a full moon aligns just in this overlap. It's all about receiving, nurturing, caring, compassion, acceptance, togetherness, taking it all in, and much more. The rave is a nice overlap and implies that there is a bit of curiosity we should maintain. We shouldn't just sit on the couch waiting for our savior to arrive, even though we had Hero in the Dreambot. This is still not warranted to just wait around. And that's even though we're in complete yin suggested behavior, that does not imply we're stagnant. Be the curious wanderer, giving your soul ample time to show you the gifts. So you're wandering around, but allowing your soul or your higher power or your loved ones to show you what you need to be seeing. That's the yin state, is just curiosity. Also ask yourself, am I truly open to receive cosmic blessings? Can you remain in this yin state of relaxed, welcoming, accepting, receive mode all week? Give it a try. Be on the lookout for your gifts without expectation. That's the part of the yin in the looking. So we're just curious. We're just observing, and no judgment comes of it. That's a yang activity. And we're just observing. Not all gifts will feel blissful, but as long as it's your soul's growth and in your soul's path, it's in alignment with your personal conscious evolution. So as you work and strive to stay in as much of a yin state this week as possible, even while you're moving, even as you're wandering, you can repeat this phrase to yourself: I receive that which is in pure alignment of my soul's path. The biggest obstruction to most of us this week is really just going to be us and our ability to really be open and receiving all that is right for us personally. And so I would work on that hidden rejection, that hidden tension, that hidden prejudgment that closes you down and closes you up to all that is right for you. All right? All that you deserve, but all that you need. And it's not just all this ego positive things. It's just, what do I need? What am I needing as my soul path through this life? And asking that to manifest in the perfect timing without prejudgment. That's so hard to do. The ego wants to come in and say, I'm only manifesting what feels good for me. More money, more riches, more fame, a better house, a better car, all these material things. But that's not really what the soul came here to do. Oh, I mean, some of our souls did, but most of us probably not. It's deeper than that. And with the yin state, it is with other people, even if you can do it from a distance, but there has to be that mentality of nurture. Nurture includes all living things too, plants, animals, but also people, and the earth itself. All right, so make sure you include all these things, but most importantly, I think especially with a Pluto and Sun together, your subconscious is going to be extra weakened. So it's going to want, like a Cancer, like a crab, to be protected. And in that protection, you're going to not receive all that is right for your soul's path. Don't do that. Try not to do that. Try to keep saying, I receive that which is in pure alignment of my soul's path, and not be afraid. And it's all in the perfect timing, and it's for the best evolution, best learning that your soul needs in this particular speck of time. All right? Open, aware. So once you're open, then you've got to actually be aware. We have subconscious closed up spots. And with Pluto weakened and ego weakened, that can both help but degrade your ability to see. You're going to have blind spots. So try to remind yourself to identify the blind spots, the blind areas, and look there. Purposefully look there. All right? Oh, this is going to be hopefully a very relaxing state as you stay true to the yin solution. Yin is, like the epitome of yin is sleep. I'm not asking you to sleep for a week. I'm not suggesting that. But sleeping well, but in a state of vulnerability in terms of the physical body, is a relaxed state. So stay as relaxed as you can. That's an accepting state. Find your blind spots. Earnestly look into those blind spots in a yin curiosity. And then open up to receive. Open up to receive only that which is perfect for you at this time, perfect for your soul's path. All right. That's it, everybody. I hope I didn't miss anything, but if I did, comment below and I'll make my apologies and we'll move on and we'll go into next week. Have no idea what that energy is going to look like, but hold on because it might go back, whip back into revolution mode, or it might continue into this yin state. Two totally different energies. All right, everybody, proud of all of you. Love and light. Let's move. Let's receive what's right for our humanity in the next phase of the human experience. All right. See you next week.